Gen Z tech entrepreneurs are facing challenges in starting their businesses here in Canada. And that's why our next guest moved her company from Vancouver to Los Angeles this month. Here to talk about her journey as a tech startup in Canada to the U.S. is Mai Trinh, founder of Internet Backyard. It's good to have you join us. Thanks so much. And Damer Hinton, of course, still here as well. Thanks, Mai.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess just to start, can you tell us a little bit more about Internet Backyard, what it is, why it was created?
Yeah, Internet Backyard is a financial company for compute. What we do is that we automate the entire circle from quote to cash for data center, co-location, and neo cloud, which is obviously very huge right now considering the demand for AI.
And let's talk about Red Thread as well, a community Gen Z startup for tech founders. Give us a sense of why this was needed, do you think?
Yeah, so I started this in the beginning of summer when I just graduated and looking for jobs, and I feel like I don't want a traditional jobs. So I start going to all the conferences and realizing that there's not really a space for Gen Z in entrepreneurship in Canada. So I posted a TikTok video, talk about how I want to create my own community and surround it with like-minded people. It blew up, and over 60 days, we got over 1 million impressions across media, and we have around 3,000 people in our community.
It's amazing. I'm curious, though. I mean, you felt you started your tech journey in Canada and then you left Canada. Can you explain why you felt you needed to leave Canada to really get this business going?
Yeah, so there's two main reasons. Number one is visa. So I'm an international student. I'm from Vietnam and my co-founder is from Brazil. For us to be able to get PR in Canada, we need to work on someone else's company for 2 years in order to qualify for enough score. And because the score keeps rising, we can't really do so while building our company. At the same time, the startup visa program in Canada is a 10 years wait time. It just doesn't work for us. And the second reason is that we were told that because we're building a fintech company, the infrastructure that you would need in order to launch quickly and scale successfully, it's only available in the state and not in Canada.
So when you think about really the decisions, it came back to government policy in some capacity, whether it's open banking in the case of the fintech, and the other part is basically a deprioritization of entrepreneurship in the Canadian economy. Are there quick wins you see from the policy perspective that could really help bring that forward? I think we'd all agree that open banking is a huge win for all of us, but we will be waiting another few years before that happens. But is there anything on the entrepreneurship side that is low-hanging fruit for Canadians?
Yes. So we see that there's a pool of talent that just in two hub spots. So you have Vancouver in the West Coast, and then you have Toronto in the East Coast. Majority, 83% of Canadian students after graduate, they just go directly to San Francisco or down to New York because it's so much easier to get working visa there for O1, H1B, or EB1. And that's a kind of policy that the government could change. But just last week, they just changed a new startup visa program where all 42,000 applications in the Canada Startup Visa got declined. And then now they're capping it at 500 applications per year. I'm sure we have more than 500 promising founders in Canada in a year.
I mean, are there more ways that you think Canada, obviously, as you mentioned, that new policy, maybe not one of them, but are there more ways that maybe Canada could be more open to allowing people to, have tech startups stay in the country?
Yeah, I think funding is a big part. For example, when we incorporate in Delaware and we raised our round, we raised 4.5 million on a 25 million pose. And it's very easy to close that round. We close in a week versus in Canada, in Western Canada alone in Q1 2025, the entire province in pre-seed round in total raised 3 million.
That's a stunning figure. And is it one of those things where we've seen attempts at, I think it was BDC Canada and other places that are trying to kick off a venture ecosystem? But maybe the honest question would be, is San Francisco too far ahead? Andreessen Horowitz just raised $15 billion. So even if we raise 30 million or 300 million, does it even matter at this point? Is venture capital, unless you're adding billions to the conversation, can we even catch up in that respect?
I do believe we can with the current economy. And I'm a big believer in if you want to do something, you could just go and do it. the real question here is the economy and how much the federal government is supporting young founders or even VC funds. BDC is the largest fund in Canada, but you have all the other micro funds that are supporting founders and really want to be there for first-time founder, but because they don't have enough cash, it's really hard for them. And the way they structure is really hard for them to match the terms of Sanfran or any other VC in America.
And one more on my part would be just for your business that you founded, proximity to data centers, basically the access to tokens and compute, I would imagine is an important part of the conversation for you and other founders in a similar field. With basically every startup being an AI startup of some capacity from where we are today, if you look at Y Combinator or any of the big feeder funds, is having data center compute capacity available at basically low cost per token, is that a potential vector of competitive advantage that Canada can offer that's untapped for us?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So we have our first two customers for pilots actually in Vancouver, AC North and Pack Buildings. And we see absolute appetite for this kind of support in terms of growing the ecosystem. Compute is a huge part, and especially with the amount of water and energy and capacity that Canada has, we have huge land, we have a lot of waters, we have cooler temperatures, so it's very good for data center. It's a huge industry that can grow if the government is willing to support, especially when it comes to data center energy management.
So interesting hearing all of the things Canada has going for it for this. Okay, that's all the time we have, though. Mai Trinh, founder of Internet Backyard, appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much.